Welcome to the AirCon Vault. Here you can find the recordings of the live streams from AirWiggle's audio conference. These are made free thanks to our sponsors: A Sound Effect, Aftertouch Audio, Doom Library, Fmod, Game Audio Learning, Game SoundCon, Kilohertz, Revrooms, Soundcuts, Strata from Audio Kinetic, and AirWiggles, the online home for audio people. We hope you enjoy the video.
My name is Maksym Kokoiev. I'm from Ukraine. I'm living in Italy right now. I'm for France. I'm Max Coco. You can find me on YouTube with this tag. Hello, Avishai. Hello, hello. So, I sound, I teach, I code. I am classically trained. That means that I basically play some instruments. Some of you may know me from the AirWiggles Implement Tournament that I won not so long ago. Maybe some of you used my 4-month filter plugin for Ableton. I studied with Leonard Paul from School of Video Game Audio. I made some sample packs for Rareform Audio, and I'm currently working in marketing here in Italy. Yes. So, this talk is titled Supercharge Game Audio with Granular Synthesis. And this is not a deep dive of any sort into the technicalities of granular synthesis, rather than just a collection of ideas to inspire you to use granular synthesis more. And today I've prepared something really cool for us, besides the granular synthesizer meta-sound node for Unreal Engine 5, and that's a live survey. You can join right now the live survey by scanning the QR code, use your phone or second screen. The questions will appear automatically, no need to refresh the page. And if you're watching this from a mobile device, please do not go to the live survey. You will be able to fill the questionnaire even after this talk, so just follow the talk. And if you're somebody that's watching this from the future, I hope the QR code will still work. Otherwise, just follow the link that you see down below. That's maxcocomusic.com/granular-poll. Right. So you can do this survey anonymously or use your email. It doesn't matter. The email is required if you want to see the results at the end, but we are going to check them together, so there's no need. Yeah. And just as Louis said, you can check the pinned message at the top of the chat. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what is your relationship with the granular synthesis, and I think it's gonna be fun. So please, please, please join the survey. And the first question is, write down any associations that come to your mind when thinking about granular. And yeah, we are talking about granular synthesis. I'm not sure why this slide is right here. And these are more or less the topics we're going to go through. So what is it? Why should we care? How does it work? What are the plugins and the software available on the market? A lot of examples. I think I made 20, more or less. How easy it is to make iterations and variations of the sound using granular synthesis. What are our options for granular at runtime? So Wise, Fmod, middleware, Unreal Engine, of course, and how you can implement granular synthesis. These are sent too many requests. Oh, god damn it! I guess you are. There are too many people in my live poll, in my live survey. So anybody who's in, that's okay. Anybody who's not, just do it after the talk. That's gonna be fine. Thank you, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Right, let's go ahead for now. I'm sorry for this inconvenience, really, really sorry. And I hope that by the end of the talk, you will be excited about granular synthesis as much as I am. Now, live people. The next question in the in the live survey is, how often do you use granular synthesis? Always, often, or never? And if you never used granular synthesis, you don't know what is it. We're gonna discuss it right now. What is actually granular synthesis? When we think about grains, we might think about wheat grains, whole grains. Oh yeah, actually, let me show the second question for those who entered the live poll. Yes. So, when we think about granular synthesis, we might think about wheat grains, whole grains, bread, rice, dust particles, perhaps granule of sand, and yes, this is sand, or maybe grain you see in movies, which are these artifacts of the film, physical film, that are amplified when projecting it on a bigger screen. That's grains. Yep. So a grain is this tiny bit of something. But normally these grains or granules are never alone, aren't they? If we zoom out, we can see a field of grain. We can see the coast. We see the movie. The grains combined make a texture. They become one. They create a fit fabric of some sort with all of its intricacies, the contrasts, the color, the shapes. And this is exactly how granular synthesis works. We take little portions, little grains from an audio file, and we combine them together to create something new. Nice. And this is one of the reasons we should care about granular synthesis. Well, first of all, it's just another tool under our belt. And second of all, it's transformative, meaning that we can make something new and something completely different out of an existing material or source. And transformation is at the core of the humanity. So this is quite neat and great. Now, let's hit our daily history quota for today. The first to theorize about granular synthesis was Dennis Gabor, which is a Nobel Prize physicist, and it was 1947. Yannis Xenakis was the first one to achieve granular synthesis by splicing manually physical tape and then rearranging it together. The first one to make it on a computer was Curtis Rhodes in '74. And the first one to make it real time was Barry Truax in 1986. Yes, school flashback. Thank you, Wouter Meyer, that's your name. I do remember. And these two are the OGs. These are the goats of the granular synthesis, and I highly suggest you to check their work, check their music out, because it is insane how much they were able to achieve with such a minuscule tool set comparing to what we have today. And this is what you could expect from their work. Curtis Rhodes. By the way, let me know in the chat if you can hear this. And then Barry Truax. Oh yeah, that's, yeah, you can hear it? You can hear it clearly? That's good, that's good. That's granular synthesis from the goats. Now, the next question I have for you is, what is granular synthesis most used for, in your opinion? Or what is most used for, what do you use it most for, right? Music, ambient, sustained sound, etc. Choose as many as you want. Now, how does Granular work? Let's see what are the controls you normally find in a Granular synthesizer. We're going to see it with faceplants, but the controls for a Granular synth are usually very similar, so this quick guide will translate to any other Granular plugin you have. And well, most of us, hopefully most of us sound designers, will be familiar with faceplant, so this is quite neat. Alex Weinberg, do you see millimeters? Yes, that's correct. I love millimeters. Now, Granular. First of all, we need a sample to granulate, right? In faceplant, we can drag and drop it. It will show it the waveform on the left side. I loaded Louis Thompson's AirCon announcement video, and this is what it sounds like.
Airwigle's Audio Conference 2025.
Great. Now, the playhead, which might be called start position, initial time, etc., is the position we're going to read the grain from. In this case, defines the starting position. The grain size is expressed in time, and it defines how long a single grain will be. Yeah. And that's cool to hear how tonal it gets as we lower the grain size and we enter the audible pitch rate. So let's note that. Now we have number of grains. We have 3 options here in faceplant. Hertz rate, meaning it will play a new grain each cycle, so 1 hertz will be 1 grain per second. You can sync the grains to your timeline. So each quarter note, each 16th note, or whatever. And density defines how many grains at any given moment will play simultaneously. And this works in conjunction with the grain sign as well. Let's see it, the density in action. Yeah. And again, as we increase the density, we start to hear an audible pitch. That's cool. That's quite neat. Now, next we have some volume, pitch, and phase controls. And until now, it's basically a sampler, right? But it gets interesting when we start to randomizing stuff. And this whole row of parameters are responsible for randomization of different parameters per each grain. So position will randomize the spawning rate. I'm sorry, the position will randomize the playhead position. The timing will randomize the spawning rate. You can think of it as a random shuffle control. Next we have pitch randomization, level, pan, and reverse. Reverse here is a chance of reversing, meaning that 100% will always play grains in reverse, and 50% will decide randomly between forwards playing and backwards playing. Now, let's see all of it in action now. Oh, great. Nice. Nice. You rascals are memeing in chat, distracting me from my talk. Yes, randomness is another reason we should actually care about granular synthesis. It's random, and random stuff is something we would never come up with otherwise. But there is a catch. It can be predictable. By deciding how much randomness we need and where we need it, we can achieve repeatable results, or almost repeatable results. And that's a really nice thing to bear in mind. And that's granular synthesis for you. Thank you for your time. This has been my talk. My name is Max. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We are just getting started. And I have another question, and it is, which granular synthesis software do you use? Yep. I guess my backend just is going nuts. If you never used any granular software, what are the plugins that you are familiar with? Let us know. Let us know. Yeah. So what is the granular software that we should be looking for? And that it's available. Default faceplant, yes, Louis Thompson, and it's available for us on the market. That's, well, first of all, C-Sound. C-Sound is what the OGs, Curtis Rhodes and Barry Truax, were using in the late 80s. And you actually need to write down code to be able to use it. It is a C-based language with a variety of opcodes. Yep, this is how it looks. A variety of opcodes, a nice collection of granular ones. I'm a bit rusty with my C-Sound, so I used a simple grain opcode here, granulating the same AirWiggles audio file. Thank you, Louis, for this nice showcase of C-Sound. Next, we have Maksym SP, which is also a programming environment. It's visual, so you have nodes to connect with different cables, just like MetaSounds if you're familiar with Unreal Engine. Quite cool. And Ableton's Granulator was also made in Maksym SP, or better, Max for Life, but that's basically the same thing. For my Cubase and Nuendo users, you have PatchUp, which is definitely more music-oriented, but I was able to find a nice ambient patch. Okay. The Mangle, which has 8 different tracks mappable to a different range of notes. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's cut too short. Well, we already saw Faceplant, which is my favorite. Serum 2 now has Granular Engine. Arturia Pigments also has one. UV Falcon, right? Sebastian Croteau did that with his voice alone earlier. that's right. Thank you, Fisherstein. That's a nice name right there. All right. Next we have unfiltered audio that has live input granulators as well. And these are not VST instruments, but effects. And they have a buffer that you can record into and granulate that. Okay. Now, Paul X Stretch is known for stretching stuff to the oblivion, and it uses granulation as well. Granular section of Traveler by Tonstorm gets often overlooked. Well, Whoosh by Tonstorm as well uses granulation. That's how we are able to drag the slide on the UI and create whooshes. Glitch machines, they seem to come from a Tron movie, and again, definitely more music oriented, and the controls might feel somewhat limited, although they are not. Nonetheless, very cool, very nice, interesting how different they are. Now, Reactor's S layer is more interesting than glitch machines. We can say it's a random multi-sampler instrument. We can load up to 127 different files, and it plays only 8 tracks at a time. We can randomize the samples to read, stretch, pitch, envelope. It has a granular engine per track. And you can see down below it says R&D with a red dot. That means that those parameters will be randomized. And that blue slider is how much we randomize them. Here I loaded a bunch of wishes from my personal library, some from Boom and whatever I could find in my folders. And now I can just hit randomize a bunch of time to hopefully generate really cool stuff. Ah, God damn it. You couldn't hear me. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Lewis.
I'll be out again.
I just noticed. Thank you so much. What I was saying? Yeah. Last but not least is the sound particles, which is one of a kind, a wild horse, and happens to be the AirCon25 sponsor as well. Thank you, Sound Particles. You're great. And Sound Particles is or one of a kind, a wild horse, and it is a standalone program only. And it's defined as a 3D modeler or 3D simulator, but for audio. It works by creating particle emitters or groups, and it will spawn particles at a certain rate. It is intended to have many different samples, just like S-layer, but here I loaded a conversation sample, and then added a granular modifier, which will granulate the file over. And with another layer of cutlery, we can have a table eating and conversating at a restaurant.
Yeah, maintainable. You really yeah. They told me. I know my for 2 years.
Okay, well, that's fairly easy, right? But what if we have a very busy restaurant? Let's bump up the number of particles and we have something like this. Nice. Now we have a full restaurant. Here you can see we can also render in multi-channel formats, ambisonics. This is a gold mine of a program. Really, really cool. Now, this is a short list of granular software you can find available to you. Some of these are free, some of these are not. Definitely go and check out curtisrhodes.com. That's the goat of the father of the granular synthesis. Check his software. I guess it's only standalone. Yeah, only standalone. But it makes some really cool stuff. And if you want to know more about granular synthesis, there is a full website with a lot of knowledge, and it's granularsynthesis.com. Yep, and let's add that to our reasons we should care. It's not just one tool under our belt. It's a lot of tools. It has a lot of variety. And each software, each plugin does it differently and can inspire you to make different stuff. If you haven't joined the poll, the survey, you can't actually, because it was broken by our community. But my next question is, in your opinion, can granular still be called synthesis if it's sample-based at its core? We already said that granular synthesis is like a fancy sampler. So can we call it synthesis if it's with a source file or not? I can tell, actually. And now let's see some examples, shall we? Right? Oh yeah, I need to open that last question. Couldn't contact the server. We officially broken my website. Thank you, everybody. Well, that was unexpected. Stargate, Chris Pollard. Yes, that's correct. Stargate. I guess my granular stuff, my survey is dead. I'm sorry for that. I'm really sorry for that. We freaking did it. Yes, that's right. So, anyhow, let's continue with this presentation, shall we? We said let's see some examples, and examples we're going to see. Let's make a sustained sound for the Stargate gate. No, actually, maybe a portal of some sort. Maybe this one. Nah, I don't like it. This one, with interweaving bursts of energy. And we're gonna call it a portal to wherever. I like that. And we're gonna do it in sound particles. We're gonna do it in sound particles where we left off. Let's create a nice sausage of a source, like this one. And I just went through my faceplant patches, which are 90% granular as well. So we can say that's like a granular inception right here. And that's gonna be our source. Let's hear it. Okay. Well, that seems like a good set of ingredients for our portal, right? Like you could do something good with it. Maybe with some more layering, layer them together, some automation, some nice effects chains. But instead, we are going to load it into sound particles. We're gonna put it in front of us. You have to like see it because I rotated my microphone, so it's gonna be in front of us, and we're going to obviously add granulation, but we're going to add some velocity some random velocity to each particle, which will go from 4 meters per second to 50 meters per second. And sound particles is also very great because it has a built-in Doppler engine as well. So we are going to hear not only the particles, but the Doppler effect on each particle. This is what it sounds like with 40 particles per second, ranging from 350 milliseconds to 2 seconds. Cool. Let's bump up the grains, reduce the velocity, and see what happens then. Right, and that's pretty cool, right? Sweet. And bear in mind that you can automate all the controls as well, like it was a DAW. So you can create one-shots, you can create more intricate motion. So that's quite neat. We didn't have to do all of the editing we might have done otherwise without Granular. That's cool. But now let's dial back a tad bit, because we might be jumping way over our heads right now. Let's start from level 1. Okay, and we're going to do a fireplace. Let's take a recording of some paper handling. Okay. And we load it into faceplant with little short grains, very short, 14 milliseconds. You couldn't even blink in a 14 milliseconds. The density will be quite high. It's going to be 7, and you would say, well, it's not that high. But if you think of it and do some math, well, 14 milliseconds divided by 7 means a new grain each 2 milliseconds, and that means 500 grains per second. And if we play multiple nodes, as I will do in the next following video, it's gonna be 1000 grains per second. Very short grains. 1000 grains, very short grains per second, yeah. Okay, so we have somewhat a nice fireplace going on. Put some white noise, some pink noise, modulate it a little bit, and you get yourself a nice fireplace. Now, let's pitch the sample up by a factor of 30, which is the maximum. Is it maximum? No, I don't think it's maximum. I think 70 is maximum in faceplant. And what I'm talking about is the harmonic right below the playhead on the waveform. It says 30. That's going to pitch up our sample by a factor of 30. We're going to increase the grain size to 69. Nice. And increase the density to max, 30 grains of density. Yeah, we need to play the audio. I'm sorry. Will it load? The Maksym. Well, all right. It becomes quite noisy. Paper is a noisy material after all. But it doesn't sound like a white noise either. Neither a pink noise or brown noise. It has a more organic feel to it. Almost seems like a fire torch. Or no, perhaps a kettle. Yeah, a kettle. A kettle boiling on the stove. But it's definitely missing something, right? We're going to duplicate our paper noise, add a bunch of resonant filters, wiggle them in a random fashion, and bind a macro to the cutoff frequency. Yeah, by the way, if you want to know what's the frequency for the whistler of a kettle is is 2.5 kilohertz. That's the perfect sweet spot for the whistler of a kettle. And let's add that to the whys of why we should care about granular synthesis. It sounds organic. It doesn't sound synthesized. It doesn't sound artificial. Because we have this underlying texture, right? Underlying real source. That's why it sounds organic. Now, at this point we were randomizing the playhead. But what we can do instead is transform it into a scrub function. Here I've loaded some dialogue. We're playing one grain at a time. Well, we need some overlap to minimize unwanted clicks. We have a simple ramp that goes from 0 to 1 and driving the playhead. And the time of set ramp is exactly the length of the WAV file. Hey, congratulations. We now have a simple sample player.
Gray lunar flow. It doesn't move. It waits. Curled like a thought, too ancient to hold. Every crater is a fingerprint. Every whisper is a warning you won't understand until it's too late.
Okay. So we have this dialogue now. What we do with that? Let's increase the grain density to max and decrease the size this time. Introduce some pitch variation, some pan variation, which you won't hear because this this talk is in mono right now. I'm sorry. We're gonna lower the pitch though and speed things up. Right? So if the ramp goes from 0 to 1 in 12 seconds instead of 16, it's going to be playing faster, right? And we get something like a demon voice now.
Gray lunar flow. It doesn't move. It waits. Curled like a thought, too ancient to hold. Every crater is a fingerprint. Every whisper is a warning you won't understand until it's too late.
Well, not only we created a demon voice, we also sped up the recording, and it's still the readability is quite good as well. Nice. Let's say our character is tripping on mushrooms or something else. I don't know, ayahuasca for my American friends. We can randomize the playhead and randomize the position and the pitch with additional random generators, and we get this.
It doesn't move. It waits.
Curled like thought, too ancient to hold. Every crater is a fingerprint. Every whisper is a warning you won't understand until it's too late.
Nice. Nice. You heard this effect maybe 1,000 times, which generally is made with delays, but granular synthesis can do it all. Now, maybe we need a robotic voice.
Gray lunar flow. It doesn't move. It waits. Curled like a thought, too ancient to hold. Every crater is a fingerprint. Every whisper is a warning you won't understand until it's too late.
Well, I already showed you that when we start to increase the density or decrease the grain size, we enter the audible pitch domain. And in this case, because the grains are very similar to each other and very, very close together, it's almost like Karplus strong synthesis. In simpler words, it's like a delay with a really short delay time. Okay, and knowing this knowledge, by finding a sweet spot between the scrub time, the number of grains, and the grain size, we can completely obliterate the dialogue and create something like a robotic vocalization. Nice. And if you feed it with the right source, you could get a full range of samples for your sci-fi enemy vocalization in no time. Nice. Next question in the live poll. If it still works, I'm not sure right now. Have you ever struggled with creating new variations of sounds? Is it the 7th? Yeah, Q7. Did it load? I guess so. I guess so. Where's my presentation? Yep. Now. Okay, let's get back to our paper recording. It's gonna be the last time, I promise. But just for once. It's just I like it a lot, and especially with anything that involves fire, I think it's great. You should check out my Air Wiggles Implement Tournament breakdown. 90% of audio in that game is this very paper recording. And for example, we need to make this fire ignition sound. So we make something like this. Nice. Let's break this down, right? We have the master envelope down here. It controls different parameters and determines the motion of the sound. It controls the pitch, the number of grains, the grain size, and some drive, right? And we have another mirroring envelope, which is the volume envelope on the granular operator. And I have them separate because it gives me more freedom in shaping the sound. Now this random is controlling the chorus, and this last curve is giving that extra motion at the end, controlling the master pitch. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily ship this. It might need a bit more polish, more layering, but you get the gist. And hey, let's imagine your producer comes to you saying that the animation team reworked all of the animations, and now you have to re-edit all of the sounds. Let's just imagine that for a split second. Well, it's not that hard because it really happens all the time. And that's why we have an attack and a decay control. You can change the shapes or the envelopes, and you are halfway done. Let's add that to our list of reasons we should care. It's adaptable and it's flexible. Let's make that a layer for a Harry Potter spell, that severely windy, high-pitched whistling layer that goes like... Do you know that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Let's take a synthetic jacket, a big old spoon, and scratch, 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 scratch. That might sound something like this. This might have been inspired by Noah's Citron video, so thank you, Noah. But let's once again load it into Faceplant. How long is this? I'm literally just playing one note over and over again. I could sell my big MIDI keyboard and just get myself one of those David Guetta two keys keyboard, and I would be set for the rest of my career probably. Yes, that's how easy it is to make variations with Granular. Let's do a bow charge. Here I recorded my squeaky leather chair, this one, and this is what it sounds like. Nice. All right. let's load it into faceplant with little grains. And in the same fashion, you can do the sustained sound of the bow held in tension. I mean, that goes without saying. You can just play one note and define the envelopes right, and you will have the sustained sound for your bow. Now, let's say we have a magic crystal somewhere on the map. We're gonna play a minor arpeggio, throw a diminished fifth, a diminished sixth there, reverse the grains and add some reverb, and you got yourself a magic crystal. Random energy field thing, I'm not really sure what is that. Let's hear. That's that. Now, shall we hit our kitchen pan a couple of times and granulate that metallic tail over and over? Okay, that's cool as well. Sci-fi drone, I'm not even sure what is this one as well. How many examples did they do again? All right, so this one was a squeaky door of my dresser. Now, let's get ourselves some nasty fast food delivery with a nice can of Sprite. I suggest Sprite, that's better. And record ourselves burping. Yeah, burps. Record some burps. Guess what else is granular in here? So yeah, granular synthesis can do a lot of stuff, can do it all. And I have another question for you, and is what is the middleware engine you're using? And if you're not using any middleware engine, what is the engine you are implementing these sounds in? Now, let's see what are our options for granulation in engine or middleware. And I have to warn you though, real-time granular does cost a fair bit of CPU power. Still, think of mobile, consoles. You could implement some granular if it's not an enormous numbers of grains, and if it's few voices playing at that time. Otherwise, you probably should rethink your implementation. And let's give it 5 more years at least before the consumer machines can handle some proper granular fun. But nothing is impossible. So please profile, profile, and profile. And you can do anything. Starting with Wise, that has a plugin called Soundseed Grain. It looks like this. You have your source, grain controls, playback controls, and modulation metrics. The grain controls are quite finicky to understand. I spent some time wrapping my head around it because the duration multiplier here if you see the duration multiplier down below, is like the density in phase plant, but it's not like it at all either. It's complicated. Well, the duration multiplier of 1 will always play 1 grain at a time, right? And with time emission of 200 milliseconds, it's gonna fire 5 grains per second, right? But with duration multiplier of 2, it still plays 5 grains per second, but each grain now will be double the duration, right? So 400 milliseconds. I hope this makes sense to anybody, because I needed some time to get my head around it. I don't know why. Maybe I am stupid. So this number is not our duration anymore, and this number is not how many grains we're outputting. What? So you always have to do some math to understand what is actually happening when you're using this combination, right? And and also the release adds up to the total duration of the grain. You can see it goes up to 450, right? So it's adding like 37 milliseconds of time to the whole grain, but the attack doesn't. What? I don't know. Well, let's say that Audiokinetic have always done things their way, and Soundseed Grain is not an exception. And I respect that, and I love I love Wise, I love Audiokinetic. I respect that, but man, come on. So there are a lot of samples included with the Soundseed Grain, and let's check a couple of them, and then I'll show one of mine use cases. Yes. Now, let's say we have a glider, or maybe we can fall from great heights in the game. So we need a nice reactive fall sound, right? So let's take a short sample of cloth movement from Soundly and tie the number of grains and the filter to the movement speed or elapsed time of falling, and we have this. So we have a nice fall sound. Maybe it needs to be a bit brighter, but again, you get the gist. Now, not everybody knows, but Rev2 by Crankcase Audio is also a granular synthesizer. And Rev2 is meant to do really cool engine and vehicle sounds. It doesn't exactly work by granulating a source in real time, but instead it needs to analyze an engine ramp and calculate each single grain. And this is because we need to have an exact duration of each engine cycle in order to produce a believable effect. It analyzes the file, it does some FFT magic and generates the grains or cycles, and compiles it into this giant and incredibly structured granular preset. Now, let's see fmod. Fmod doesn't really have a granular synthesis as per se, but it does have a scatterer instrument. You can think of the scatterer like sound particles or S-layer, right? We have our source, which is a collection of assets. It's called playlist here. We can decide a randomized interval to spawn grains. We have some additional spawn rate multiplier, the number of grains to spawn, randomization, and maximum density. We have a distance randomization, meaning that each particle will be attenuated as if it was in the space. By the way, SoundSeed Grain can also do this, so that's cool as well. And in good fmod fashion, your source can be anything. You can nest 20 scatterers together, and that's fine with fmod. I'm going to have a full-blown inception in there. You want to put any other event, you can nest that as well. You can even mess around with RTPCs or in fmod parameters for any other event in your game. The most basic use of the scatterer might be some ambient birds. I loaded some synthesized bird calls which are separated in small pieces, added some frogs, added some reverb, and got myself a little swamp. I have another example, and this one is made by Ashley Wills, which have recently posted it on AirWiggles not so long ago. Yeah, let's hear it. This was made with the scatterer instrument in fmod. It's reactive to the movement, to the speed, and it is some quite clever implementation.
The faster the velocity, the more you'll hear those heavy sounds. We can also see here is the spawn rate is being increased, so you hear more of those sounds, and the pitch is also being increased. This just helps with it feeling like it's moving. Beginning, we have a bit of a fade in with the audio volume, and we fade in and out of the different scatter instruments.
Yeah, and I wanted to shout out Ashley Wills because it is incredible. Really, really cool. Incredible work by Ashley Wills. Go and show Ashley some love. I will post in chat the link to the website. Yes, now let's talk Unreal Engine. And I'm super excited about Unreal Engine, and not because we just had an Unreal Engine Fest in Orlando, but because I joined forces with Wouter Mier, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and we are developing a custom granular metasound node. Well, that's pretty cool. What am I looking at? Oh yeah, this is what it is.
This is a granular synthesizer inside Unreal Engine, and it can do some cool
Nice. You can get it right now from the GitHub repository. It's called Metagrain. You'll find the latest release on top of the README file. Yes, you can scan the QR code as well. I will also post it in chat. It's a plugin that adds a new metasound node called Granular Synth, It's not well optimized as of right now, but it shouldn't break your PC, so don't worry, and it shouldn't break your Unreal Engine. It's not compiled for Mac though, so you should be able to compile it yourself if you are a Mac user. And right now it doesn't have multi-channel support, and it's quite pretty power hungry. So we definitely need to optimize that. It's still in development, but if you want to try it out, you could. If you want to contribute, you could. And more details on the following link. Yep. And don't get me wrong. There are ways to make granular synthesis in Unreal Engine 5 without coding a C++ plugin. There is a like modular synth I think. And as well, if you want to make it in MetaSounds, you can nest a bunch of wave players and create your own granular patch that way. I saw it done, and I saw it done pretty well, so it is possible. I know for sure that Epic Games is actually planning on making one for MetaSounds, but meanwhile we're waiting for it. I had some nice time learning C++, Unreal's audio engine, and there was no better way to do that than creating a granular plugin. And I'm really grateful for having Wouter Meyer on the board on this one, which, by the way, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to you, Wouter. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He has made so much good additions to this development, and he's a great sound designer and a very resourceful fella. I'm gonna paste some links in chat. Go and show him some love as well. Now, this version of this granular synth is thought of being very similar to the faceplant granular, and very stripped down as well. I wanted to embrace what I think is the Epic's idea behind MetaSounds, or at least what I think is their idea. Any functionality that is possible with some MetaSound patching is not included in this note, so the bare minimum as far as it can get with granular synthesis. We have play and stop trigger, the wave asset, which is the audio file to granulize. We have grain duration and duration randomization. Active voices is just like the density in faceplant, meaning it's going to be the max amount of voices at any given moment. Reverse chance, time jitter, warm starts to fire all of the intended grains as soon as we start playing. Start point is the position of the playhead, the randomization of the playhead, which only gives positive values, right? Attack, decay, which are very similar to ADSR in MetaSounds. In this case, if a grain is 100 milliseconds, we will have a linear 10 milliseconds attack and the same 10 milliseconds release. But the full grain will be 100 milliseconds. Then pitch shift, pan, and the correspondent randomizations, and also the volume randomization. Right. And on the other side, we have standard triggers, stereo outputs, and all the basics of the final results per each grain. I hope this does make sense. So every time an on-grain trigger hits, you can read the values for each grain. So the playhead position, the grain position, if it's reversed or not, its volume, the pitch, the pan. Quite cool for debugging, and if you want to create some nice UI widget with it, maybe. Cool. Anyhow, let's do something interesting with it right now. Here we have a little horror game I made sound design for in a game jam. And after the initial area, we enter this corridor that's blocked on one side. So we need to find our way to the Jazz Club Hall. And here I want to make a sort of an intense moment with a sort of jump scare. Let's say we start hearing strange whispers that get louder as we approach the hall, and then Big boom boom, great jump scare. All right. In the previous version, I just had a loop that was changing the pitch and the volume. Sounded fine, but now I can change it and use granulation instead. That's the source file. I'm sorry if it's a messy meta sound. And again, you can expand on this, change the source, maybe some spooky strings, layer different granulators, or layer source before going into the granulator. And this is how it might sound in the game as of now. All right, yes, quite cool. My next endeavor will be Granular for physics simulations. I wanted to add this as an example, but I didn't have the time to make it. I'm sorry for that. Nonetheless, reactive stuff was made way before granulation with just looping and random containers, but I'm 100% sure that it's way easier and more fun with granular. Now, that's granular synthesis for you. But I have a last section, and that's how can you make it into your workflow? How can you integrate and implement this granular synthesis into your workflow? I'm going to share my personal experience, and these are 3 simple steps that you can follow. First of all, we should start with our source, as it's really important for granular synthesis. And we need to change slightly the way we record. Instead of recording just the motion you'd like to achieve, record a continuous sound. And you can just allocate 2 to 5 minutes before or after you do your regular recordings. And now you have a continuous waveform that is very simple to granulize. And for example, in Soundly, you can add words like movement or continuous to get more suitable results. Next step is curate your source. You clean up the recording, delete the silences, delete whatever doesn't feel right. Put your most insane effects chain and re-render it. Go bonkers. Combine 2 different sources together, curate your source. I have a full folder called textures. That's what I call them, and it's constantly growing. These are all my recordings ready to drag and drop into Faceplant. And the same goes for the synth texture as well. It's right above the textures folder. And lastly, be playful. I personally allocate at least a couple of hours on Sunday for just messing around with stuff, which is like a grown habit already. Yeah, go for the unexpected results, happy accidents, which are the best thing for a sound designer to happen. It means you are discovering new stuff, new techniques, and having a good time. Now, that is granular synthesis for you. Thank you all. We went way over 1 hour of this talk. My name is Maksym Kokoiev, Max Coco on social, and this was Supercharge game audio with granular synthesis. And I'm wondering if we can see the results of the granular poll now. Is it possible? Will the system show me the results? Yes, it will. Okay, how do I do that? Okay, this is really fun. Let's see the results. I'm sorry I'm going way over my allocated time, but it actually worked. Whoever participated in this poll, thank you. So yeah, any associations with granular synthesizer? Okay, so grains. Okay, sand, rain, grain, rice, bits. I like bits. Cute. Samples, particles, tiny. And then we have crowd, sample, synthesis, loops, car. Well, grains win for sure, right? Grains is the best here. Engine, which is quite nice. Wobbles, warps, bushes. Grandeur. Anybody put grandeur in the survey? Please explain what is grandeur. Randomness, good call. Unexpected, good call. Results. What? I just put in my words into the survey. What is happening here? Movement, Curtis, roads, small sound, generative loop pieces, detail, faceplant, sampling, synth. Nice. So, how often do you use granular synthesis? Well, most of you do actually often use the granular synthesis. What is granular synthesis most used for? And, well, ambience and sustained sound, yeah, that's what everybody would think of. But I hope I proved you wrong. That you can do short sounds, voice effects, and vehicles and engines as well. Now, which granular synthesis software do you use? Well, Faceplant is the winner. Somebody called C-Sound. Nice, I like that. Any granular synthesis tools we haven't mentioned? Reactor, UV Falcon, that I actually didn't include in my presentation. Ubic, I know of. Quanta, I know of. Omnisphere. Does the Omnisphere have a granular synthesis as well? Except Foley? Bowter? Well, yeah, Foley. I actually didn't include Foley, but does it really goes into here? Not sure. Scanner XT, very good. Didn't include that neither. Okay. Can granular synthesis still be called synthesis if it's sample-based? Yes, it can. Have you ever struggled with new variations of sounds? Often. Always or never? Well, often we do struggle. Yeah. So granular synthesis will help you with that. What audio engine? Wise, Fmod, Unreal? Nobody's using Godot. Come on, man. Somebody has to use that. It's pretty great. And I heard that it has some good audio engine as well. Nice. So that was our live survey. Thank you for participating. And everybody who's watching it after could participate as well. I will stop my presentation and we'll see some of the questions. All right. So Saif is asking, what are good free software to experiment with? If you roll back my presentation, you will see some free options there. But if you want to really experiment with stuff, go to curtisrhodes.com, which is again the father of the granular synthesis, and check his programs. And if you will learn from the Curtis Rhodes programs, you will definitely be an expert in granular synthesis. And Granulab. Granulab is a VST plugin that is free. It's spelled Granulab. No particular spelling. Granulab. Right. Okay. Which microphone do you use to record that cool sounds? By Juan Montoya. It is an AKG P170. It's right in front of me right here. It's a shotgun condenser microphone. You can get one for $100. That's nothing really insane. Okay, let's go with the next. In your portal example asks Tyrell Schrott. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. In my portal example, we have 3 to 5 audio clips edited together. Is that the method you use to create the rich sound effects for visuals? Not necessarily. In that case, I just created a source that is really varied, right? So I had, it's the same as if you were to load different source files into the playlist of files to granulate, to emit particles. But I just did it that way because I wanted to show you how cool is the granulator inside the sound particles. I hope that answers your question. Maksym, have you tried, asks Terry, thunder and lightning in faceplant? No, not really. Well, I have some thunder recordings, so I should definitely try with that. And thunder in faceplant, I might have something like a ground shaking low rumble, which is achieved with a really small grains pitched down, and they generate this like rumbly stuff. But no, lightning or thunder, never. I should try. That's a cool idea. What about create cartoon sounds with granular synths? I've never tried it, but I guess if you are using it like a delay, you could do that. And again, granular synthesis is all about the source you feed it into. You feed into it. So if you will find something like boom, boing, 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 right, that boingy stuff, and granulate that, you would definitely find yourself with some cartoon sounds. Next question. Thank you for a great presentation. Thank you, Daniel Gorbachev. Will the presentation be available for watching when we're less sleepy? Yes, you can go to the conference section in Airwiggles, and the Airwiggles folks, Louis Ball, Sergio Ronchetti, and of course Greg Lester and Louis Thompson will upload it as fast as possible to the AirCon platform. Have you tried Microcosm hardware granulator? No, I didn't, but thank you for the suggestion. I will definitely try that because it sounds really cool. Microcosm? Nice. I should definitely try that. Okay, I guess that's all the questions. I'm sorry I haven't been reading chat. Thank you. Yep. I think that's it. Thanks to all of you for your time. My name is Maksym Kokoiev. This was Supercharge Game Audio with Granular Synthesis.